One founder Acharya, beauty founder Acharya, savior of the whole world, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parivrajaka Ashtotter Shatashi Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय. ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की जय. नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय. पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. श्री द्वारकापुरी धाम की जय. गंगा मैया यमुना मैया की जय. भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय. सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. पतित पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. श्री श्री रुक्मिणी द्वारकाधीश की जय. श्री श्री रुक्मिणी द्वारकानाथ की जय. श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय. श्री श्री गौनिताय की जय. शील प्रभुपाद की जय. शील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय. प्रसादम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3rd, Chapter 17, The Victory of Hiranyaksha. Text 18. Prajapatirnama tayor karshid Yah prak swadehadyam mayorajayat Tam vai hiranyakashipum viduh praja Yam tam hiranyaksham sagratah Prajapatirnama tayor karshid Yah prak swadeha yamayor ajayata Tam vai hiranyakashipum viduh praja Yam tam hiranyaksham sagratah Prajapatirnama tayor karshid Yah prak swadehat yamayor ajayata Tam vai hiranyakashipum viduh praja Yam tam hiranyaksham sagratah Prajapatirnama tayor karshit पक्षदेहास्यमयोरजायतः तं वै हिरण्याक्षविपुं विदुः प्रजा तं हिरण्याक्षमसूतसाग्रतः प्रजापतिर्नामतयोरकार्षीत् यः प्राक् स्वदेहाद्यमयोरजायतः वै हिरण्याक्षविपुं विदुः प्रजा यं तं हिरण्याक्षमसूतसाग्रतः प्रजापतिर्नामतयोरकार्षीत् यः प्राक् स्वदेहाद्यमयोरजायत तं वै हिरण्यकशिपुं विदुः प्रजा यं तं हिरण्याक्षमसूतसाग्रतः वैष्णवीस् प्रजापतिर्नामतयोरकार्षीत् यः प्राक् स्वदेहाद्यमयोरजायत तं वै हिरण्यकशिपुं विदुः प्रजा यं तं हिरण्याक्षमसूतसाग्रतः प्रजापतिर्नामतयोरकार्षीत् यः प्राक् स्वदेहाद्यमयोरजायतः तं वै हिरण्यकशिपुं विदुः प्रजा यं तं हिरण्याक्षमसूतसाग्रतः प्रजापतिः कश्यप नाम names तयोः of the two akarshit gave ya who prak first swadehat from his body yamayo of the twins ajayata was delivered tam him why indeed Hiranyakashipu Viduhu no Prajaha people Yam whom Tam him Hiranyaksha Asuta gave birth to Sa she Diti Agrataha first. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki cha. Translation. Kashyapa Prajapati, the creator of the living entities, gave his two sons their names. The one who was born first, he named Hiranyaksha, and the one who was first conceived by Diti, he named Hiranyakashipu. Purport. There is an authoritative Vedic literature called Pind Siddhi, in which the scientific understanding of pregnancy is very nicely described. It is stated that when the male secretion enters the menstrual flux in the uterus in two successive drops, the mother develops two embryos in her womb and she brings forth twins in the reverse order to that in which they were first conceived. The child conceived first is born later, and the one conceived later is brought forth first. The first child conceived in the womb leaves behind the second child. So when the birth takes place, the second child appears first, and the first child appears second. In this case, it is understood that Hiranyaksha, the second child conceived, was delivered first, whereas Hiranyakashipu, the child who was behind him, having been conceived first, was born second. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितां स्तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. I seek blessings of all devotees so that I can speak something glorifying Lord for all of your pleasure and for my purification. So we have a few guests. Welcome to temple. Yeah. So every day we discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are in third canto, wherein Shukadeva Goswami is now describing the birth of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, two demons, you might have heard, right? So in today's verse, it's said that Kashyapa Prajapati, the creator of living entities, gave his twin sons their names. The one who was born first, he named Hiranyaksha, and the one who was first conceived by Diti, he named Hiranyakashipu. So we'll see three things today, that how Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless scripture. It sometimes also gives some material details, but it doesn't focus like in today's verse. And since there is a discussion about womb, we'll see what happens when the jiva is in the womb, and we'll have also discuss how Bhagavatam tells how not to enter womb. So 3 points. First, how these two demons entered the womb, what happens in the womb, and how not to enter womb again. So generally we know that if somebody is born first, he is considered as an elder. But in case of twins, Srila Prabhupada here is quoting a Vedic literature called as Pinda Siddhi. He said that the one who is conceived first, he is considered elder, though he comes out from mother's womb after the one who conceived next. So it's pretty scientific explanation about that. So we see that Vedas, they deal with it's kind of manual for life, and it has all the details. But Srimad Bhagavatam, being the crest jewel of all Puranas, it mainly deals with how to get out of this repeated cycle of birth and death. So, and then in Bhagavatam sometimes these details comes, but the acharyas don't focus. The another example is when Krishna goes to kidnap Mother Rukmini, there comes a verse where it says that in the night when he was going with the Brahmanas, he crossed over many forests, sandy lands, and within night he reached from Dwarka to Kaundinyapur. Now in purport, Prabhupada mentions an interesting fact. So if we see Dwarka geographically in India, it's in a state called as Gujarat, whereas the Kaundinyapur, that's in Maharashtra, the birthplace of Mother Rukmini. So he says that in between, Bhagavatam says that there were a patch of sandy lands, that means desert. So Prabhupada said that there is a Kutch, there is a small patch of desert in India. He said that means this desert existed at the time of Krishna also. The scientists claim that this has been recently formed, but Bhagavatam says that it was there from very beginning. And then he mentions very nicely, he says, we leave it up to scientists to figure out. We are happy that Krishna reached to meet Mother Rukmini. So the point is, when we hear such things, now see why Shukadeva Goswami must have mentioned is, going forward it is always mentioned that Hiranyakashipu was the elder and Hiranyaksha was younger. But from material perspective, Hiranyaksha was born first. So then how come? So therefore here it is mentioned that how the one who is conceived first is considered the elder in terms of twins. So this is the first part, that how these two demons, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, they entered the womb. But Bhagavatam, now in the same canto, if you go little further, it talks about what happens in the womb also. It not only gives in detail description about how the jiva is evolved, how he gets body, what happens in different months. It even talks about the consciousness of that particular soul in the mother's womb. So there is a nice prayer in the 32nd chapter. This jiva is praying, me on this chapter 32. So this Kapila Dev, later he is telling to his mother Devahuti what all things are happening in mother's womb. So there, when this individual soul gets the consciousness, he becomes conscious of his precarious situation. He is in that very small place. In mother's womb, it's like putting in the cage. The worms are biting him, and whenever mother eats something hot or pungent, his skin is burning. He cannot move. So he is in very precarious condition. So at that time, this jiva, individual soul, he prays to the Supreme Lord that how, because of forgetfulness of the Supreme Lord, he is in this precarious situation. So this jiva is praying that, oh Lord, please take me out of this, and I'll always, remember you. And he has that desire to, not enter again in that, horrible place. So the acharyas, they describe that different jivas, they have different, because of their karmas, they have different thought process even in the womb. So those who were, jnanis, they kind of analyze, why I am suffering, how I should get out. But those who are devotees, they understand that, yes, I have got this material body because of my, my desires. Let me get out of this and not take birth again. But then this jiva also thinks that, oh, if I go out, because of external influence of material energy, Maya Devi, I'll forget Krishna. And that's more troublesome. So let me remain in the womb, pray to Lord, and go back to spiritual world from womb only. Let me not take birth only. So basically, he compares between two miseries. There is a story. Once what happens is that one person gets caught doing some crime. So the king orders him that you have to get beating with 50 sticks. You have to, the soldier will hit you. And he sees the stick, it was very heavy, thick. So he says, this looks pretty strong, I'm not so stout. Is there any other form of punishment? So he said, you have to drink 5 pounds of ghee, say 10 pounds of ghee. So he said, do I have to pay for the ghee? He said, no, you have to just drink it. So this criminal, he thinks, yes, this is good punishment. Let me drink it. I'll also gain some weight instead of getting, beaten. So he starts drinking 1 cup, 2 cup, and those who have experience, honoring ghee, it's pretty heavy actually. So after 1 pound, he start kind of feeling vomiting, and he had 9 more pounds to go, second pound. So he said, sorry, I cannot do, you beat me better, I cannot drink. So basically this is between many times you have to choose one misery or other misery, right? So sense gratification, basically it's all miserable, but sometimes it comes form of a ghee, and we think that, oh, if I drink ghee I'll be happy, but we cannot take it more. Then we have to go on taking beating. If we indulge in sense gratification, what happens? We get a nice beating from material nature. So here the jiva, he compares whether I should be in the womb or outside the womb. So what he thinks, if I go out, there will be forgetfulness of Krishna, so let me better be within the womb. So this forgetfulness is the root cause for us being in the material world. It is said that the most important injunction of all Vedic scriptures is Smartam Vyam Satatam Vishnu, and the second most is Vismartam Vyam Najatuke. So we should always remember Krishna, and we should never forget Krishna. So time and again the scriptures are teaching the prayers of this, this particular Jivatma, is called as, interestingly, if we read this, Kapil Dev says, Karmana Deva Naitrena Jantur Deho Papate Striyo Pravishta Udaram Pumsa Reta Kanashtrayaha. This Jivatma is called a Jantu, Those who know Sanskrit or Hindi, it's a very derogative term. Jantu means basically insect. So we all are termed insect if we don't take up to devotional service. The moment we start taking to devotional service, we become human, Otherwise, it's like, again there is another verse from Mahabharata, right? It says that ahara nidra bhaya maithunanchas samanya etat pashubhir naranam dharmo hitesho adhiko vishesho dharmasya hinam pashubhir samanaha. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending is the same between humans and animals. So until one takes up to devotional service, one is as good as an animal. So this Jantu or the Jiva, when he is praying, he is saying that let me not be forgetful of you, O Lord. And we see, all the previous acharyas, if we learn their prayers, this point will come again and again. There is a nice prayer by King Kulashekar. He says, Mukunda murdha pranipatyache bhavanta ekantamyantamartham avismrtistvaccharanarvinde bhave bhave mestu bhavat prasadat. So this King Kulashekar, very nice devotee, he says that, O Lord Mukunda, I bow down my head to your lordship and respectfully ask you to fulfill this one desire of mine. What is that desire? Avismrtistvacharanar vinde, that let me not forget your lotus feet and let me always remember your lotus feet. How many times? Bhave bhave mestu bhavat prasadat. Let me take as many future births as you like. Sir, I don't care even if I have to take birth again, provided, star, condition mark what? I should not forget your lotus feet. Another beautiful prayer by same King Kulashekar. Srila Prabhupada used to quote this so many times. Krishna tvadiya pada pankaja panjarantam adyaiva me vishatu manasa rajahamsa prana prayana samaye kafavata pitte kantavarodhana vidau smaranam kutaste. He says, oh Lord, let me die immediately. Little risky prayer, right? He's praying to Lord that, oh my Lord, let me leave my body immediately because now I am able to remember you. My mind is entangled in the triangle of your lotus feet. You see, all of you see Dwarkadish, how he's standing. He's in the form of a threefold bending form. So those who know shapes, all of us, we know shapes. So his lotus feet, it forms a triangle. So it is compared to as a, those who have seen the lotuses, their stems within the water, they tangle within each other, And that the swans, when they are moving, many times they stuck their beaks inside, So he's saying, my mind is entangled in the triangle of your lotus feet. So this is the best position to leave my body because I am able to remember you now. When I will be old, my body will be full of, kapha, vata, pitta, and I won't be, I don't know whether I will be able to remember you or not. So better let me leave my body now. So again, the underlying principle is devotees don't want to forget. Because if we forget, then entrance into another womb is guaranteed. No question. If we forget Lord Krishna at the time of death, entrance into other womb is guaranteed, and it may not be even a human. So, in the human life, we have this special privilege that we can break this cycle of womb to tomb by remembering Krishna. And there's all these Vaishnava songs, prayers of Acharyas, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, all these are there to help us to remember Krishna. And If we see even Parikshit Maharaj, because of whom this Bhagavatam has appeared, he also prays for three things. When he was living, he said, I don't mind taking birth again if I get association of devotees, friendship to all living entities, and attraction for your holy names. So he's again praying same thing. So the pastimes of Lord described in Bhagavatams, we have tendency to discuss about what's happening, what's the news, every day morning we see, what's the news today. So all this news from spiritual world are there to remind us that there is a very positive, happy existence available, and we all can be there. Rather, it is our original place, and we can again reach to that place by practicing this, chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, and then this whole Bhagavatam is in response to that question, wherein Parikshit Maharaj says that what is duty of a human, and especially one who is about to die, that we are supposed to hear and chant the glories. And this pastime is again like beautiful pastime of these two incarnations, Varahadeva and Narasimhadeva. They appeared because of this, these two personalities, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, who have just taken birth. So devotee is conscious about dangers of this material world. Krishna says, Mama Maya Durattaya. He knows the material world is very difficult to overcome, but he doesn't know, it's not that he only knows the problem part, he also knows the solution. What is that? Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durattaya. That is the problem part, and solution part is Mame Vai Papadyante Maya Metan Tarantite. This all of us, we see dogs, right? So one day, once His Holiness Niranjan Maharaj, Sachinand Maharaj, he was describing that he used to deliver papers before. So one day he went to one house, and one furious dog, he came and he was about to pounce. Many times we see, right, this be aware of dogs board. This sometimes we see small dogs. Nowadays even we get that, this much dog. They are not actually, we are not scared of them. But if you see, Doberman or those German Shepherd, or I don't know, there are so many. Just by looking at them, we feel like scared. What if they forget, if they pounce? So he said this big huge dog was about to pounce on him, and he was like this close, and suddenly he heard the noise. Stop, Tommy! Something like that. And then that dog put a brake. Shh. He took a U-turn and went back. The master, he called the dog. So Maya, if we realize how strong Maya is, if we are sane, we will faint. Srila Prabhupada used to say that I am worried that many times my disciples, and that is the case with even grand disciples and who will come, we are not sufficiently afraid of Maya. It's very strong. Within Bharat Maharaj was at the point of a bhava stage. A small deer. Made him take 3 births. Maya just came in the form of a small deer. He got attached. He has to take again birth as deer, again take a birth as Jada Bharat. Long time. So Maya is very strong, and what problem Maya gives is not that she's always put us in the frying oil. The problem is she'll many times give so many nice allurements, we'll forget Krishna. That is her biggest win. What she says, you be devotee 23 hours, 59 minutes, 59 seconds. Just this 1 second you give it to me, I'll give you something interesting. A chocolate lollipop. For us, maybe $1 million, a nice, beautiful, woman, opposite sex, man, whatever. Or power, prestige. You be pure devotee, just 1 second. And when we give that 1 second, she gives 1 more second. And then we, after a few days we realize 24 hours we are, just in the service of Maya only. So this Maya's biggest weapon is, she makes us forgetful of Krishna by giving n number of allurements. To the extent that it says that the last snare of Maya is one start thinking that I am God only. Everything is happening because of me. Even the yogis, they think, I am becoming one with God. So, there is, that comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? There was this Ramchandra Das, he went with Rupa Goswami, or Sanatana Goswami, I guess. Lord Chaitanya even did not look at him. He used to always chant the name of Ram. But his aim was to become one with Ram. That's again, allurement of Maya. So, a sadhaka has to be very careful that he always be vigilant and try not to forget, and hearing Bhagavatam, being in association, reciting prayers, that helps. So we'll end with, to summarize, we saw that how Hiranyakashipu is considered elder because he was entered the womb first, and though Hiranyakashipu was born first. Then we saw that how Bhagavatam has, it has a lot of details, but it doesn't emphasize on the material aspect, but rather it focuses main on pure devotional service. And then we saw that how the jiva in the womb prays that, Lord, let me not come out, but let me always remember you and go back to spiritual world. And then we saw that how forgetfulness of Krishna is what assuring us, again and again birth. And then we saw that few prayers, that how devotees, they pray to not become forgetful of Krishna. And if we do that, then yes, we'll surely go back to spiritual world. So we'll end with one prayer by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He says that, Prabhu tava padayuga mora nivedana. So he's saying that, oh Lord, I am asking you, nivedana, I am, begging you one benediction, that nahi magi deha sukha vidya dhana jana. He says, he is asking that I am not asking you for all, wealth, knowledge, prestige. Nahi magi swarga sukha moksha magi. That I am not asking you about, moksha, liberation, or merging into impersonal Bhagavan. All he says is that Vishayebe priti ache achaye amar sei mata priti hoite charane tomar. That the attraction I have for the material object, let me develop the same attraction for your lotus feet. So let's pray to Rukmini Davarkadis that may we always remember them and may we never forget them. So with that, we'd like to stop. Any questions or comments? Yes, Maharaj. Yeah.
Thank you for a very nice class, very enlightening. There was just one point that occurred to me while you were speaking, and that was you were giving all the ideal times to die. I'm thinking of Krishna now. I see the vision, or I see the deity of Krishna now. I hear Krishna book being read now. All these are ideal situations. So therefore, Lord, let me die now. But that's not the way death comes. Death does not follow our order. It follows the order of God. And the order of God is very personal to himself. Sometimes he's giving us punishment. Sometimes he's giving us reward. It is his business, and our only business is to surrender to it. Surrender meaning If it comes from God, then it has to be good. Therefore, I accept it even if it appears bad. And so that's the main point, that no matter what is coming, from a material point of view, we should totally ignore that. The only thing is the spiritual point of view, and that's God's point of view, and that's God's choice. And that choice may not be so befitting or might not be so pleasing to our senses, our body, our mind, our activities. Nonetheless, if it's not so pleasing and it's displeasing, but it comes from Krishna, it must be accepted and even, if you are really advanced, welcomed.
Yeah, very true. Thank you for adding that.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Anything else? Okay, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.